Well, now moving to Kenya, we have the CEOs of Airlines Fly 540 and FastJet. They've signed an acquisition agreement that will see an end to a dispute between them, in which Smith of Fly 540 demanded debt payment of 589 million shillings. But now the dispute seems to have settled. And joining us in our Nairobi studio to discuss this is Ed Winter, CEO of FastJet, and Donald Smith, CEO of Fly 540. Well, Donald, perhaps you could just begin by outlining, give us the context for this dispute, which is now apparently settled, but just take us back and tell us what the issue was about.
As you're aware, in June 2012, an agreement was made with Rubicon, then became FastJet, to purchase part of the shares of 540 in Kenya. As in all these things, the detail was immense. And one of the problems was we hadn't gone through the detail logically to resolve all our issues prior to the takeover taking place. What's happened now is that Ed and I have been working for the last 8 weeks to try and resolve the problems in the detail. And in actual fact, we've come to an MOU and we've agreed, made an understanding of how to move forward over the next year.
Ed, it sounds as if you have preferred to go the discussion route, or perhaps the mediation arbitration route, rather than court. Few people win when everyone goes to court. What is it that you wanted out of this deal?
Well, the original deal was that we want to develop a pan-African low-cost carrier. And in doing that, we've acquired 540 in Tanzania, Kenya, Ghana and Angola. And the eventual aim is to turn those into FastJet low-cost hubs. And other places, as you probably know, we're working hard at acquiring an airline in South Africa at the moment. Now, as Don said, our agreement was very complex, and these things sometimes go awry. And it clearly wasn't the right way to resolve it, going to court using lawyers. So Don and I sat down and we've reached a very sensible agreement which enables us to resolve our differences and move forward, and to the benefit of both 540 and FastJet. So we're back working together, and the past is tucked away.
Well, Donald, looking at the effect of this on the operations, how do things change? I mean, if there was a dispute which you've now resolved, how does the landscape, if I may use that term about the airspace, how does it change?
It's a massive positive step forward, in that rather than concentrating on a legal dispute, which we have been doing for the last 90 days, we can actually concentrate on running the business properly. Also, I now have a big brother, right, who's helping me and it can assist me and guide us in how we expand our business in the future. And I think that one of the most exciting things that could happen is that as FastJet develop more and more in South Africa, you know, we have 2 hubs here that we can link together, and no other airline in Africa links 2 hubs like that. So we're excited at the way we can move forward.
Well, Ed, I come back to you and talk about FastJet, and as it happens, we have a story in one of our newspapers in Johannesburg this morning about FastJet trying to get into the South African market, buying One Time. That's been objected to on the grounds that South African airline needs a 75% shareholding. It sounds as if this would have been a very good deal. Maybe it still can be.
Yeah, I think we saw the fact that there was an opportunity with One Time. I came down there back in the latter half of last year when they were still in business rescue to try and find a solution. Sadly, we didn't manage to make it over the line before they actually went into liquidation, or provisional liquidation. We've since then been working with the liquidator to try and find a resolution whereby we can actually resurrect that airline and into FastJet. We are determined to be in South Africa, so I have been exploring other opportunities as well. So if the One Time opportunity doesn't come to fruition, we're still working on other opportunities in South Africa. And in fact, I'm heading down to Johannesburg this afternoon to continue those discussions, but we don't want to give a blow-by-blow account of where we are with that. We'll wait until there's something solid to announce, and we'll announce that. But in the meantime, we've developed in Tanzania, in Dar es Salaam, and we've been incredibly successful in expanding the market. We've actually, 1/3 of our passengers so far have been first-time flyers. So airlines that complain about us taking market share, we just actually proved that the low-cost model in Africa works just the same as anywhere else. It expands the market, it creates a whole new market.
What sort of market is it, Donald? Because on the one hand, you've got long distances, you've got some economic routes and some that are not. It's competitive, but it's also tough on costs. And if you're doing a low-cost airline, you've got to be even more aware of that. So is it competitive enough, this airspace over Africa?
I would argue that the Kenyan airspace is highly competitive, with Kenya Airways being a highly respected airline that operates in a competitive and efficient manner. But as Ed said, when you start to lower prices and expand the market, it's amazing that very quickly you bring new people into the aviation sector. They come off the roads, off the buses, off a 7-hour bus drive, and they'd rather go fly on a plane. I mean, Tanzania, as Ed said, 30% are new flyers. When we started 540 6 years ago now, we did the same. But maybe it's time that we refresh our original concept and bring some more people off the roads into aviation and expand. I see Kenya and East Africa being a very, very expansionary area in the next 5 years.
Well, just to finish with you, Ed, looking at the airlines, I mean, it does sound exciting, more competition, there's growth to be had. Is the infrastructure keeping up with the airlines?
Well, infrastructure is a real issue, and when we came to Africa, a lot of people said you just won't be able to operate efficiently. I talked about bringing international standards of reliability and punctuality. Now in Tanzania, albeit it's a very small operation at the moment, since we started at the end of last November, we haven't cancelled a single flight. We've achieved a 99% punctuality, and our average delay across the piece has been just 4 minutes. So something which I don't think any other African airline can aspire to. We've actually managed to bring European international standards of reliability into Africa. I think that's what people need. People want low fares, they want efficiency. For far too long, I think the African people have suffered from just unreliable operations blamed on infrastructure. We've proven you don't need to suffer from that. You can actually find ways around it.